So another thing I learned from Instagram is that I live in a bubble that it never really occurred to me. I think I'm aware of a lot of things in life that people live differently than me and
Mm-hmm.
vice
Mm-hmm.
versa. But apparently, via the internet, all I see are dogs getting in fights or somebody getting bitten.
Mm-hmm.
And, the big unofficial campaign of leash your dogs. I'm so glad and I'm so sorry for those that don't live in the bubble that I live in. This kind of
Yeah.
bringing it back to the pit bulls
Yeah.
and whatnot. You can have a lot more fun, and there's a little more room for error if your dog isn't deadly.
Yeah. Doesn't have a reputation. And that's, I selfishly always think when you see next door when people are like, leash your dogs, there's a leash law. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
true.
This
And
is
some
true.
dogs don't want to be run up
Mm-hmm.
on.
That's
Um,
not a false statement.
right. But then I think well, that's because your dog probably isn't trained as well as mine. And I can say that because I haven't trained any of mine. I pay somebody to do that. Um, but I know whose recall is good and who still needs a little work. And I know who my toy soldier is. And if I
Mm-hmm.
see a dog, you have to act responsibly. And I
Mm-hmm.
think people take for granted he was trained once, he's good.
Mm-hmm.
And not things change, their health changes, the
Yeah,
weather changes.
that's
A
right.
certain
You
dog
moved.
might trigger
Mm-hmm.
and just that being in tune. It's sort of like the how many times do you see people on the trail on their phone?
Head down.
Dog is a drunken
Mm-hmm.
soldier. Zero like, oh,
All the
you
time.
should have corrected that.
Yeah.
You're missing so many cues.
The thing, what you're bringing up is that uh, walking around with monsters on leashes isn't really the answer either.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's bananas
Yeah.
to me. And
It,
then
it
people being so anxious about it also.
yeah.
You go from the guy, and I really saw this the other day, really head down, fitty. Seemed like a nice fitty, but still, um, from the lady that's just like, oh, don't touch my dog, don't touch my dog, don't touch my dog.
And don't come near
Yeah,
me and
I'm gonna find a middle.
yeah. Or go find a country road.
Mm-hmm. Walk down that
Yeah,
if you're too nervous, because your dog, he definitely knows
yeah.
that you're
It
uncomfortable.
yeah, the dog show world has a saying, your attitude travels down the leash. If you're
Yeah,
anxious, they feel it.
100% they
They,
are too.
they
They're gonna get you. I mean, they got your back.
yeah. They've read 4,000 cues because they don't understand English and they're picking up what you're laying down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know how we change the culture of immediate gratification.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the boat has left. Like we're
Yeah, and it's so heartbreaking because now it's the job of the responsible citizens to pay for the taxes to keep this shelter and pay the vet that gets to put this
mm-hmm.
perfectly good dog down
Yeah,
because you didn't want to crate train, you didn't want to mend your
train.
fence, you didn't
Yeah,
want to train, and you're kind of over it now too.
yeah, and so's the dog.
Uh huh.
The dog's gotten so far ahead of the window you had
Yeah.
that it's going to take so much more work. Or you take it back to the rescue, you take it to the shelter, and now it becomes somebody else's
Right.
problem.
At the very least, the poor tech and the vet that have
Yeah,
to walk it that long walk to that room.
yeah. It
It's a real lack of foresight that's causing a lot of trouble for people that are trying to fight the good fight
yeah, and
or just happen to be out going for a walk and got murdered
yeah, it's
by your dog.
it's yeah, and I always joke, it's hilarious that we have such an issue in the South because we have
Mm.
moderate weather. They don't have that issue. They don't have this issue up north because they have winter.
Uh-huh.
So the culture of leave your dog chained so it can become, more and more anxious and become a problem,
Mm-hmm.
or, have a chain link fence so it can fence fight.
Right.
Down here is
Yeah.
just so common because if we leave him on a chain 12 months out of the year, he's still going to be there. He's not going to be happy. Psychologically, he's going to be screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still going to be alive. You take him up to Pennsylvania, one winter ought to do it helps cull the herd.
Ah.
And so I don't, I guess the end result is still the same. The dogs are still not making it out the other side, living a happy existence.
Yeah.
But I don't know how we change the culture shift. I don't know how we stop that, except maybe if you live with a difficult dog. I think the experience of the dog peeing all over your house for 6 years, the next time,
You won't be so quick to let your heart make your
yeah,
decisions.
I think once you've experienced
Mm-hmm.
a dog like that,
That's
it does give you pause.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, in her case, at least we could say this family at least kept the dog.
Yeah, and she took on the son's
Mm-hmm.
mistake.
Yeah.
Which, at 20, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I know I adopted many a
Yeah.
dog I shouldn't
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about? Because this is the only way I think it could possibly get changed. Legislation for owning dogs, to where it costs people so much money, an individual so
Yeah.
much money, it's not worth it. To the point where, like, you'd say, would you like to get a yacht? No. What are you, crazy?
Yeah.
I can't buy a yacht.
I
or
can't
keep
afford
it
a boat. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, financially would be the
Yeah.
only way.
Make it hurt.
It's like the rabies is enforced by the state of Texas,
Mhm.
but how it's enforced is through the cities. The vets turn over their
Yeah.
records to show you're current.
Yeah.
It never gets enforced because the system, people would need to pay more taxes to be able to man that process.
Yeah.
And
It's
unfortunately,
like registering your guns, right?
exactly. Unfortunately, in Texas, we still see dogs as livestock, which is
Yeah.
infuriating to me because they can be separated. We can say cloven, shoed horse
Right.
livestock
Yeah.
can be different than dog and
Yeah.
cat.
Yeah.
But it's just under this big umbrella, and we can't possibly separate the two. There's
Mhm.
just no way we could ever. All livestock is all animals. But yeah, I think that financially would be the only way that people might have a different mindset.
Mhm.
But who's going to enforce it?
Yeah. If there were no dogs to buy, we wouldn't have this problem. But as long as there'll always be
Supply and demand.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. The puppy mills are all, and that's my other theory, is if dogs were as big as horses, it wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
But I can have 400 little schnauzers in my backyard.
Yeah. Easy peasy. And charge the same as you would for a Dane.
Yeah.